What's going on, everyone? Do you all remember Shabazz Muhammad? It's okay if you don't. The last time he played was in 2018 in the NBA. He was originally drafted in the first round as the number 14th pick by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Was there for his first handful of seasons, then went over to the Milwaukee Bucks where he was released, and then he's been playing over in the Philippines ever since. But he is still only 29 years old. He's 6'6". He can play small forward, shooting guard. He actually did have some game. Like, he wasn't like great. He wasn't like a star or star in the making or anything like that. But he was a pretty solid guy. He had some good years, some good seasons. He has career averages of 10 points, 3 rebounds, and zero point 0.6 assists. But he did have like a pretty solid role play. He was a good role player for the Minnesota Timberwolves back then. He shot like 42% from the field, but he did have a season with Milwaukee, like I said, that little stint where he shot like 55% and averaged 8 points in 10 minutes. But it was only an 11-game sample size. So it wasn't anything hugely or major. But the reason I'm bringing him up is because it is being reported that the Lakers are planning on bringing him in for a workout. Now, he has worked out for several other teams, including the Sacramento Kings, I believe. And then the Lakers plan on bringing him in just to get a look at him. Like I said, he's still under the age of 30. Was a guy that had NBA experience, and Shabazz Muhammad has recently even came out and said in an interview that basically he wasn't in game shape with Milwaukee, stuff like that. He was a kid. He made mistakes. It's been several years. Like I said, it's been 4 or 5 years since then. He said he's learned from his experience and believes that he could make a difference on an NBA roster. Which, I mean, this would be bargain hunting, right? You hope you find a guy that had NBA experience, could come back and actually make an impact. We've seen guys like that in the past. We've had guys that have left the league, played overseas, and then came back and made a real impact. Even guys like Patrick Beverley, he was playing overseas and stuff like that. Eventually came back, made a roster, and now he's been in the NBA the last several years. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Another guy that isn't linked to the Lakers from what I've seen, but it could be a possibility, is like Tyreke Evans. Tyreke Evans has officially been, banned. The ban has been lifted to allow him to return to the NBA, and he's worked out for several teams. These guys could be guys, especially like guys like Tyreke Evans, who he had so much potential. I mean, I might have to save that for an independent video because Tyreke Evans, that dude was a stud. But Shabazz Muhammad, he was a solid guy. He wasn't good. He wasn't great. I mean, he was a role player. He was your typical 6'6" wing type player. He would be another like Troy Brown Jr. If the Lakers went and got him. A guy that's 6'6", got some wingspan, could play some defense, shoot the ball. Hopefully he's improved and his game's gotten better over the years because it's not like he just, went home and just, was chilling, working a 9 to 5 or something. No, he was still playing basketball for the Philippines. So he was still able to make a professional career, just not in the NBA. And so if he could come in and if he could be a, solid shooter, then I don't see why not, especially if he could take a flyer on him. Because the Lakers, they need shooters. So if you're bringing in Shabazz Muhammad, and if he can be like a 37 to 38, maybe even higher 3-point shooter, and maybe play some solid defense, he doesn't have to be a stop defender, but just be able to play within the flow of the team, be able to play some solid defense, keep his man in front of him, stuff like that. He's still young. He's still under the age of 30. I mean, he could be a guy that becomes that diamond in a rough. It's like, oh, wow, we got a guy. Like, what's the difference between him and, like, an undrafted free agent? Like some of the undrafted free agents are 24, 25, something along those lines, but they don't have 5 years of NBA experience like Muhammad does, So I'm not completely against the idea of bringing him in and at least just giving him workout. There's nothing wrong with giving these players workout. Give Tyreke Evans, give like some of these guys that are out there that aren't too old. You don't want like a 37-year-old retired player or something like that. Like some of the articles that I think is funny is like it says like Lakers trying to bring back retired. Like he didn't retire. They sent him home because he was out of shape and just wasn't contributing the way that they had hoped. I mean, he was, like I said, he scored 8 points on 55% shooting in 11 games, but he was overweight. I mean, Shabazz Muhammad himself talked about it and said, like, I took the opportunity for granted. He was a lottery pick, played for UCLA. This is a guy that had a lot of potential and a lot of hope, and many people thought could be somebody. He had good size, was a scoring shooting guard, could play some defense. He was solid for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He had some games. He had like a 40 or a 33-point game or something like that against the Lakers one time. I mean, he's a guy that could heat up in a pinch. He just unfortunately just took his opportunity for granted and just wasn't able to live up to what he needed to be. And this NBA, they don't play games, It's like, if you don't want to be here, there's somebody else that could do the same thing you'll do, and they want to be here, and they might even be cheaper. So, and he was out the league. So if he learned his lesson, he's willing to come in and buy in, and he understands, like, I'm going to be the, 8th, 9th man off the bench, and my role is to come in, play defense, knock down some shots, and just be that consistent guy. Like, if he could be if he could come in, play 10 minutes a game, shoot 55%, and give us 8.5 points per game, that is perfect. That is, we need 10 of those guys. So I'm not opposed to bringing him in, giving him a shot, and seeing what he could do. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about Shabazz Muhammad? Do you think, it doesn't hurt? Give him a tryout. If he's great, that diamond in the rough. Our scouting department is amazing. So if he is good in the tryouts and the workouts, and they believe in him, he'll be on the roster. It's just going to be, can he perform? Can he show I'm still this guy? He's under the age of 30. He's 29 years old. So he's still young enough to be effective. You're not talking some 36-year-old where it's like, okay, why are we bringing him in? If he could just be, you're not asking him to come in and be the starter. You're not. I mean, if he's that good, if he was like the Minnesota Shabazz Muhammad, I wouldn't be opposed to him starting. I mean, he was a solid defender, solid shooter, solid scorer. He was a guy that could do a little bit of everything. But I mean, in reality, you're not asking him to do that. You're asking him to come in. He's going to be, at worst, the 15th guy on the bench. Best case, he earns a rotation spot. And if that's good, then like I said, if you could get a guy that comes in, plays 10 minutes a game, and get you, 6 to 8 points night in and night out, what more could you ask for? Play some defense, be a solid contributor, all of that stuff. I wouldn't be against it. But what do you think? Do you think, yes, bring him in, let's see what happens, it doesn't hurt? Or do you think, no, we do some trades, do something else, look at somebody else, bring one of your undrafted free agents in? That doesn't mean that they won't. I mean, because you could bring him and Swider in, let's say, But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts, opinions, however you feel about it. Let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.